we were wondering, what are some safety precautions that you take before the race?
We do a full safety check on the car, where we nut and bolt the car, make sure everything's tight the way it's supposed to be, push torque your wheels, check your tire pressures, make sure all your safety equipment's in good shape, everything's latched, hooked.
Alright.
Fire bottle or onboard fire system.
Okay.
If you need it, it's there. We also require, if you can see inside, this is a side net for any intrusion or anything else coming in. We also have a full window net on this side, which comes up and bolts in also.
Okay.
And it's to keep your arms and hands inside the car if there's ever any situation where you're bouncing or rolling or something like that. That's about it for safety-wise. Everything else. This device here is called a Hans device. Okay. And it was developed to prevent neck fractures. You know Dale Earnhardt Sr. When he was in the crash, what happened is he hit the wall and his head went forward, stretched his spine, and snapped the base of his neck. That's a NASCAR, but it happens in road racing and everything else. This device was developed after that point, and what it does is prevent your helmet from going forward and your neck from going forward. So your seat belts come over the top of it here, and this piece fits down here. So you see the straps, it will not let your head go forward. It may break your collarbone, but that's a lot easier to fix than. That's one of the other safety devices in driver equipment. I didn't even touch on that. I have a 3-layer driver suit. You have long underwear.
What do you wear? Yeah, that's one of them.
Yeah, long underwear, which is a fireproof underwear. Fireproof socks, fireproof shoes, fireproof gloves.
Fireproof everything.
Yeah. And then you also, even though I don't drive a long car, you leave your shield on. Okay, even if you're not driving. If there's an incident or a fire or anything else, you flip the shield down. It helps protect you also for any fire or anything else coming in.
Safety modifications that you made to your car.
So, most often this is the roll cage. So the interior is stripped of anything that's flammable. Roll cage welded in, attached to the chassis, multiple points with big base plates. And then the cage is padded with this high density padding, so if you do hit it, you don't break your arm on a steel tube. The seat has head restraint wings to keep your body in the seat in the event of like a side impact, and then in addition there's a window net and a right side net that keeps arms in. Okay. So if there's a rollover or something like that, your arm doesn't come out. Anything that's fabric is fire retardant. Obviously there's the helmet, and then with that there's a head and neck support that anchors to the harnesses so that your head can't move forward. Yeah, the harness device, so your head can't move forward and from the body with the strain on the neck. Okay, so it's all that, and then you can see that red plumbing you see there. Yeah. And the big, so that's the fire suppression lines.
Okay.
So you can see the nozzles here, aiming at the driver. One aiming down towards the firewall. You can see one going up there towards the engine, and then a couple out here at the gas tank. So that if there's a fire anywhere, the driver hits one button, and any potential point of flame gets put out.
What do you do if you crash?
I crash?
Yeah, if you crash.
You stay in the car.
Okay.
Unless it's on fire, stay in the car until the safety workers can get to you. Okay. Make sure it's safe. That's the safest place. Is still strapped inside the car unless it's burning. But you got to stay there and try to figure out what you did wrong and don't do it again.
Okay. And what do you do if there's a crash on the track and you have to avoid it? Like it's in front of you. What do you do for safety?
Well, I listen to my spotter and my radio first and foremost, find out where it's at, and try to find the safest path around it, and then you look for the flag stations. They'll tell you what to do, whether they're going to bring you in on the black flag because they're shutting the track down, or you just need to be aware of it when you come back around.
All right. How often do you change the tires in your tractor?
Depending on the track, and conditions, we usually get 2 sessions out of the tires.
Okay.
So 100 miles roughly, you know, I guess if you looked at it that way.
What would you say your most valuable piece of safety equipment is in your car?
Yeah.
So the other guys.
You gotta think.
That's what the other guys
There's
say.
no amount of safety stuff that can save you in all situations.
Okay.
The fun thing about it, and also challenging, is when you're driving, everything's fast, everything's going quick, but you have so many adjustments that you're making, be it steering or brakes or you're feeling for things that the car's doing. It's very possible. I lost 5th gear the other day. You know, so all of a sudden now I'm not going from 4th to 5th, I have to go 4th to 6th and adjust my driving and doing this all at 130 miles an hour.
Yeah.
So you have to constantly think of all the inputs that you're getting, not to mention the other competitors out there too.
What is your max speed limit that you feel comfortable at, like taking turns?
Max speed, you can take a turn or max speed overall?
Both.
Here I don't know. Road America, I hit 167. In the straightaway,
Straight is whatever the car will do.
max from the corners is whatever the suspension and driver can do. In the corner, probably, I don't look at miles per hour that often.
You could probably guess it. Turn 1 here, 4th gear. Probably at
105, 110, maybe around in there.
How does weather affect like the way you drive or
How you drive?
Yeah.
It affects a lot. One, you want to run different tires. These tires don't have any way to pump water out from underneath the tires, so you'll have grooves like a street tire does. You generally want to run a softer suspension, so it's not as abrupt moving. It helps keep more grip in the tire. And then the big thing is, especially here, you drive what's called a rain line. It's a wider line. Rather than going all the way down to the apex, the inside of the turn, you'll kind of rim shot around the outside. All the sealer and whatnot they put down there is really, really slippery in the wet. It's like trying to walk on wet paint. It's really slippery, so your line changes substantially.